Hello everyone, welcome to IBE classes. Now we are in the second test of paper 3 and I would be discussing about internal security questions. Now when we talk about internal security question, the question that had surfaced this time was terrorism and corruption hinder the internal security of any nation. Comment. Now obviously in this question when I was going through your paper, right, most of you have tried to answer it, but none of the answer I found that could have fetched good marks in that. Now what was the main reason? Because everyone has defined terrorism is an act that causes chaos and lawlessness in the society, right? Whereas lawlessness in the society, whereas corruption is a process which is against the law and it hinders the functioning of the proper functioning of the government, right? Obviously it has, everyone has talked about its impact, right? And the impact is obviously when we see terrorism, now it creates law and order situation. Second, it has a great dent on India in any country's economy. Now third factor, it creates social havoc. People feel insecure, so less FDI and everything is there, right? Plus it weakens the democratic structure as at also because people tend to lose faith on the government, right? Now these are the things which is related to terrorism, right? It obviously leads to loss of a lot of human beings life is there, as well as economic damages that comes with it, right? So these are the things that is by terrorism. Now everything have missed the thing that that is required. It was just required to be answered, right, into two lines. These are the problems created by terrorism. Now after that, when you are talking terrorism, the next paragraph or next thing should be the government initiatives in this regard, right? Obviously earlier we had POTA, Prevention of Terrorism Act, but we have removed it. But now we have anti right, we have the act against terrorism, right? And that is, we have especially in 2008 created an agency called a National Investigation Agency as such. Now the other one is any law against any criminal activities, right, or terrorist activities. We have implemented it. This was also implemented in 2008, right? Now government had, specially set up National Investigation Agency for this one, and National Investigation Agency is taking care of all the aspects related to terrorism, right? So these are the things that you need to write in this one. Now when you are talking about corruption, right, again corruption, as we know, it has this impact, and as we have told, it causes a severe dent on the India's economy or any country's economy. Plus it hinders the better functioning of the government, right? And uh, apart from that, the most important thing, right, is corruption basically corrupt the mindset of the people, and the corruption becomes a norm of the society, what we are seeing today, right? Because it's 150, so just a paragraph of 3 to 4 line about the impact is required. Then what you missed, everyone missed this, was the government initiatives in this regard. Now, the government initiatives in this one is, now we have the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002. Now, basically, International Convention, UN Convention Against Corruption, we have attended that, right? We have the Vienna Summit Against Corruption, right? Now, we have made the laws that is, it keeps a track on excess expenditure or excess income that comes in. Even the banks have been, they have been instructed that if any amount which is quite great, right, now you need to report it, right? So these are the things that government initiatives are there. So when we talk about the corruption and this aspect, basically these two aspects needs, this approach to be for writing the answer. Now we will talk about the next question, and the next question is, write a short note on maritime security. Now, when we talk about maritime security, obviously, very few people were there who could write up to the mark. Right now, maritime security basically is the security of our coasts. And as India has around 7,500 kilometers of long coastal line, so obviously the protection is quite necessary, right? Now, it created a challenge for internal security in which way? Now, the first one is through the terrorism. The first challenge that we face is through terrorism and anti-national activities that could happen through that. Now, we have seen that challenge in 26/11 attack, right? It was 26/11, I hope, right? So basically, Mumbai attack, we have seen how the defense of the sea is there. Second problem that is faced is in terms of drug trafficking, right? Now, human trafficking, especially, you can give the example of the Gulf of Mannar between Sri Lanka and India, and then the Sundarban Delta region, the Bay of Bengal, right? Sundarban Delta region, where the human drug and weapon uh, trading, smuggling do occur by the trafficking, do occur by that. So the second is problem is this one. Third one is international in nature, right? Now, international in nature, we have problems with, right? We have problems with Sri Lanka on the marine border, right? Now next is we have problem with Pakistan on Sir Creek, right? So obviously that becomes important. One more dimension is there in the Sea of Aden. We are often, attacked by the Houthis and other, sea pirates who are becoming a greater danger in that region. So these three factors are there. Now, apart from that, the fourth challenge that we face is in terms of natural disaster like cyclone, tsunami, and others. So these are the four challenges that is there for the internal security in terms of maritime security. Now, what are the government initiative? Now, government had deployed three layers of protection. On the coast, we have the marine police. Now, till the 12 nautical miles, we have the Coast Guard, and from 12 to 200 EEZ, Special Economic Zone, we have the Indian Navy, right? So this is the first step. Now, second one is government has taken very seriously the Kateshkar Committee report, and on the basis of this report, it has, marine surveillance program with international cooperation. Now, Indian Ocean region, convergence of sharing data, right? Has been a forum that has been created, right, for the security. We are having, uh, international efforts as well to curb the pirates as well as for any international threat that is to our coast, right? So these are the government initiatives that has been done, right? So now, way forward, as we know, we need a well secured guard. We have to work more on infrastructure, right? And like we have stationed, right? And we have stationed in Seychelles, right? And other places like Mauritius, the Marine Coast Surveillance Guard. So that sort of thing is required in all the places around us, right? So that could be your right. So the way to conclude the answer. Now, only 150 words were there, so we don't need to write very much about that. Now, question number 12 is discuss the left wing extremism and the steps taken by the government to curb it. What are the steps that should be taken to eradicate this problem, which is considered a great threat to internal security? Now, when we talk about left wing extremism, now it is basically a school of thought that is based on the Maoist principle, the principle advocated by Mao Zedong, right? So, Mao Zedong. Now, Mao Zedong भी बोलते हैं इनको, Mao Zedong भी बोलते हैं इनको, right? So, Mao Zedong had, what he had done. He had organized the group of landless agriculturists and had revolted against the landowner, captured their land and distributed it in the landless one, right? And it was done through violence. And he believed that any government which is there, which is not taking care of the landless people, should be completely thrown away. An alternative mode of government requires to be set. Now, on this very principle, this complete Maoist theory is, or left wing extremism is. Now, when we talk about this left wing extremism, it started now. Many of the students left the historical context just in 2 lines. You need to write that, right? It started in 1967, right? In Naxalbari village of Darjeeling in West Bengal, right, and was led by Charu Majumdar and Kanu Sanyal, right. Now, from there, it spread across different states. Now, you have to cover the areas. It spread across different states. And at one point of time, it was covering about 21 states in India, right? But which is why the whole reason was named as the Red Corridor Zone. Now, the things have become better, right? Obviously, there was one time when Mr. Manmohan Singh, our Prime Minister, had said the biggest threat to internal security of India is nothing else than left-wing extremism. But thankfully, we have he made this statement around 2012, and just 10 years after that, this has now been confined to nearly 2 states mainly, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. Chhattisgarh being the main center still now, and some areas of Andhra Pradesh is affected now. Now, right now, you can draw a map, which some of the student has done it, so it was a very good move. I just like that, right? And area you can show right through the map only, so you can now show the current, live right there, the current position, and then show Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and then a bit of Andhra Pradesh border area. It is not the inner side. Inner Andhra Pradesh is completely free. It's just the border of Chhattisgarh and Andhra Pradesh. So that is one, the Rampa region it is known as. Now, left wing extremism, next thing many of the students miss was what were the causes, right? So when you are writing a 250 words, so you have to cover every dimension. But in short, right? Don't go keep elaborating one fact only. Try to keep it short, but try to cover maximum aspect out of it. Now, then the causes for its rise, right? So causes were very much because the faulty land laws that we have, the whatever the amendments made by the government, because I'm bit explaining it, so I will be get going in bit detail, but you don't like to write, need to write very detail about this one in answer, right? Because the faulty the land reforms were there. Now, obviously, we have removed zamindari, we have enacted the law for land sealing, right? But it never took place seriously. And the Benami land and by other means, the people, the landowners kept the land to themselves. Now, this great divide between haves and have-not is the sole cause. Second one is the underdevelopment of the region, and the government had not taken proper care of such population. The marginalized segment, that is the third one, the tribal people who were exploited by the outsider as well as the government agency, are the maximum one, right? So all these things, right, are the base, right? And plus the present day constitutional administrative system, right? Plus lack of development, right? Lack of education. So these are the things that you will write are the reason for the rise of Naxalism. Apart from that, now when we talk about the next part, right? Now, steps taken by the government. Now, the steps that has been taken by the government has been a plethora of steps, right? Right, like from they had the appointment of a CAPF, Central Armed Police Force, and a special battalion called Cobra. They have been deputed at many of the places to think of this one. Now, recently, the government has said that by 2027, we will be completely eradicating the Naxalism. So after 2 years time has been given that in by 2027 Naxalism would be completely eradicated. Now other steps is several development programs like Manrega, right, poverty alleviation program, literacy, Saksharta Abhiyan, right, and everything has been there. Now there is a one thing that everyone need to write in the paper, the special program which has merged all these initiatives into one, which is called Samadhan, right? So Samadhan is the thing that the government has taken. Now it has made a favorable surrender policy. They are given importance in employment and other avenues, right? Plus, for their proper rehabilitation program has been developed. So these are the steps that has been taken by the government. Now, still steps to be taken. What are the steps that need to be taken? The steps that need to be taken are first. Now, first, go for the land reform and go for proper implementation of the land reform. A fresh land survey should be there and equitable distribution of land should be there. Second, stop the exploitation of the tribal, and proper rehabilitation policies should be there, because it is the tribal population who has been displaced from one place to the other, and they have paid the cost for the development of the nation, right? So for them, proper is required. Third one is now establishment of a lot many schools are required. The teachers need to be properly recruited and should be monitored that they are taking proper classes or not, right? Now, fourth thing that we need to do is we have to also beef up our security and should try to curb the urban Naxalism as well, because they are the people who are mind washing the uh, many of the people, and they are the one who are looking after the finances and the other things, legal things, right? So even they should be handled very sternly by the government. Plus there should be collaboration between the state government and the center government, because this is one of the reasons why left wing extremism has persisted till date, because the center considers it as the state law and order problem, and the state considers it as an international sort of problem, a national sort of problem. So what should we do? Now a better collaboration is required, right? And all the government agencies should collaborate together and keep up the good work to eliminate this. This was what you're required to write. Now, last question, that is, money laundering poses a serious threat to country's economic sovereignty. Right now, when we talk about money laundering is nothing but converting black money to white money, right? Or illegal money to the legal money, right? For money laundering, right, it basically occurs, the process involved is basically in three layers. The first one, in the first time, money is pumped into the system, that is, it is introduced in the system. Second, through second stage is called the layering stage, where through various manipulation and transaction, it is done by the CS and other one, right? So they try to incorporate it in the system. And third is integration, where now the black money has converted into white money and it becomes the part of the system. Now this money poses a lot of challenges. Now first one, it occurs, it promote, these money are often used for promoting terrorism, right, for drug trafficking and anti-India activities. So obviously, first one is this challenge that we face. Now, second challenge is it promotes corruption in the society, right? And it develops tax evasive culture, where people always see to evade the tax, which is going to harm the economic sovereignty. Third challenge that we face from money laundering is a lot of shell companies are established, right? And these shell companies, through various manipulations and all, right, they are hiding, they are basically becoming the main source of converting black money to white money. Now, fourth one is this causes economic instability, because the government can never gauge the proper situation in the country, and it could have a false and inflationary uh, what to say, uh, uh, thought or the data on which it will obviously lay a faulty policy, right? So we can see there are several challenges, and especially it is a great threat to economic sovereignty, because it can reduce your FDI, foreign direct investments, right, which are proper and genuine in nature. Second, obviously, a lot of money which is required to run the country get evaded, doesn't go to the government, right? And third one is a lot of false companies get enlisted in the Sensex, and that is again a false data is created. So obviously there is they create a sense of insecurity, economic insecurity in the country. So this is what you need to write, how economic sovereignty. Now the second part is saying that the challenge has become more with the ICT, internet communication technology का बढ़ने के कारण. So in ICT technology, the challenge has become more because right now the digital currency and digital payment are there, where many a time source could be hidden, right? So this is one thing that is a great challenge, right? Now second one is the use of cryptocurrency and other things, right, which has new way of it. Third, on the shell, on the net, the false description of shell company are there, and they are basically used to manipulate the Sensex data as well as the share prices, right? And many a time these are the people of India get manipulated, right? So all these challenges are have increased due to this uh, this development of information technology as such. Now, what are the steps that government has taken? Now, government has taken a lot many steps, like it has implemented Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002, right? Now, by this, it has created an enforcement directorate, ED, we call it popularly, which go through these cases. Plus, it has guided the banks to adopt the Basel norms, right? Then we have the Foreign Exchange Management Act, FEMA, which is there to regulate the thing. Fourth is obviously international collaboration, and the Vienna conference has been there as a guidelines for mitigating this. Plus, we have, made the transactions of any amount which are greater to be reported immediately to the income tax and other concerned department. So these are a lot many steps that has been taken by the government. Now, what we need to do now, we need to uh, prevent and make the people more aware about it, right? Now, the demerits of money laundering and certain strict punishment should be there, right? Plus, their second one should be a proper collaboration between different aspects, like, the narcotics department, right? We have the income tax department, the banks and all, right, should be there, so that no one can, no one can remain unpunished. Plus, more severe laws need to be made, although it is a punishable offense, right? And a great fine is there as per PMLA. But the fine should be rather through confiscation of all property and other things. Now, these are the things that we need to know. Now, one more suggestion that comes from my point is, right from the beginning, from the childhood till your graduation, every time there should be a chapter, a compulsory chapter on ethics and morality to be taught to the people, which could prevent them for going or being involved into this one. So these were the things that you needed to write. Right now, one more step. Now, the tax haven countries, which are a great shelter for this, right? The government should put pressure on them or should ban any investment from India in these countries, right? So these are the things that need to be done. So that's all, right? So these were the 4 questions of internal security. I hope you would, this will be a bit enlightening as well as helping to you, right? That's all. Thank you.